Jared Goff isn't new. He knows what he did wrong, specifically on the one where he was scrambling and had the ball in one hand. He doesn't need, whatever the 4.5 million Detroit Lions fans to tell him to tuck the ball away. He's, I'm sure, totally aware of it, and I'm sure it will get emphasized. The ones where he gets hit and fumbles, I mean, those aren't ideal. There was so much in that game Thursday that I could not explain. I could not explain how against a secondary with three guys out, they didn't have guys running wide open. I could not explain how Goff didn't have very much time to look off his first receiver. He couldn't work his way through progressions. I couldn't explain how Goff turned it over. I couldn't explain a lot from that game that just didn't make a ton of sense. And, a wise person once said, and I think this is something you lean back on times like this, and the quote is, yuck, throw it in the garbage. And that might just be a one-off.
See, that's the question that you have to ask yourself. Is it one of those games, or is this something where you look at the previous couple of games and you say, yikes, they had to come from behind against the Bears. They struggled a bit with the Chargers to lock them down because the defense gave up a bunch of points in that game. Is this a disturbing pattern? Now, against the Chargers, he was untouched.
Yep. And that's the part that I can't, like the turnover thing is a couple games, and Jared, we know he's capable of not turning it over because he went through an incredible stretch of not doing it.
But that was also the last game that Jonah Jackson played.
Yeah, and they need to sort out protection because that shocked me, and it shocked me that his first read wasn't open. Like, Ben Johnson's a hell of an offensive coordinator, okay? I think that was a collective failure on a lot of levels. The one that spans, the turnover spanned more than the one game, but it starts with protection, and that was weird.
Well, yeah, because he wasn't protected, and when Jonah Jackson out, you're already hamstrung a little bit because you start to move people around. Frank Ragnow got hurt halfway through that game. Now, he came back and played, but obviously Frank Ragnow wasn't 100%, and he hasn't been 100% in a long time, but we know this. And yet he's still a Pro Bowl caliber player playing with his injuries. But he was more banged up than usual. What had me going, was that Penei Sewell was getting beat.
Mm-hmm.
There was a play he just got flat out beat, and we haven't seen him get flat out beat like that in a long time, maybe since his rookie season. And that's where I went, this is troublesome. I think he got hit. I think Goff took 12 hits in the game, had to 3 fumbles. 3 fumbles after, a week where you throw 3 interceptions. It's a lot of turnovers in a week. I mean, it's a lot of 6 turnovers in 4 days is a bit much, or 5 days, whatever it was. That's a bit much. And I think that is atypical. So expect it to be better, and yet I'm concerned about that offensive line because if they're not at full capacity, then we've seen them win, but we've also seen them struggle. I don't want to see any more struggle. Hopefully this time off will benefit those that were resting up and that Jonah Jackson will be able to play Sunday at New Orleans. New Orleans doesn't look nearly as formidable as maybe you thought they were a few weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
But they follow that up with a game at the Bears, and the Bears look better. So